You're here with us today, and what we're going to do is take a very simple, easy faux finishing technique called sponging using two colors, and we're going to make it extraordinary. How we're going to do that is we're going to find a very nice motif that we like from a fabric pattern, and then we're going to trace that pattern onto our stencil and cut it out. What we're going to do is put it right up on the wall, and we've painted our wall with a semi-gloss paint. The semi-gloss paint gives you the ability to have a little bit of slip resistance to it. I've chosen this color specifically. It is Glidden Contemporary White. The color is just a little bit antique white, off-white kind of color, and most people when they're building their houses, they have to choose a color very quickly. So they choose something that they think is very neutral, and pretty soon they decide it's just white or off-white. So we're going to dress that up today. What we're going to do is take our trowel again that we used before in our Modern Masters Textured Effects. We're going to take our trowel with a little bit of Textured Effects medium on it, and we're just going to skim right over the top of our stencil. And that's going to give you just a little bit of texture of the stencil. And we're going to pull that tape off while it's wet, and then we get just a little bit of a raised panel stencil. When we're finished sponging the wall, we're going to accent that with a little bit of copper, and it's really going to pop out and make a beautiful highlight to your wall. The first thing we're going to use is a sea sponge, and this one is a very large sea sponge. The most important thing about picking a sea sponge is the shape and the texture of it. You want something that has a lot of texture. When you first get your sea sponge, you'll think, well, geez, that's awfully hard. And yes, it is. You want to soften it with some water, and then I just kind of break it apart a little bit and get it a little bit more pliable. It's almost like, I hate to use the analogy of the baseball glove, but it is the baseball glove with the saddle soap and getting it all worked in, getting it all nice so it's not stiff. What I've done is taken the warm silver and pale gold, and I've just put them in a paint tray. We're going to mix these two colors on the wall while they're wet, and that way we get a really unique sponging effect. Silver and the gold in there, and I've taken the sponge and I've dipped it in the gold, and I'm just going to offload a little bit. And I'll take the other half of the sponge and dip it in the silver and offload that. Now you'll see when I come to the wall that I'll get a lot of glaze on the wall. When I do that, what we're going to do is we're just going to work it around a little bit. We're not going to be too concerned with where it goes or how it looks. It's just getting a small dosage of it on the wall. And again, it's kind of like putting on makeup. You put a little on and then you dab a little off. It appears that I've got a little bit more of the warm silver than I do the gold. So I'm going to dip into the gold again, offload. And we're just going to work this around from the corners of the board. And we're moving our sponge in several different directions so we don't get a plop, 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 plop effect. This is easily done when you do not have the lights on in your room, because this is something that, because it's got a metallic to it, it has a sheen, it does have a glow. So therefore, sometimes it's very hard to see what it looks like until it starts drying. It really won't look like a whole lot until it starts drying. So it's almost like makeup, ladies. A little more is not always the best thing. Okay, we're moving the sponge around. And again, we've got the loaded sponge with the gold and the silver. We don't really care how much gold or how much silver we get. We kind of want waves of gold and silver. Because you're putting this on wet instead of dry, you get lots of different variations of the color. So it looks like there's many shades. I am actually taking just the gold metallic and I'm highlighting just the raised part of the stencil. You don't have to get tedious with this because it's just a raised part of a stencil, and some of the plaster is very even and some of it isn't. Something that's very easy to do, that looks expensive, that's easy to accomplish. Faux finishing is easy. It's not rocket science. Anybody can do this with a little bit of time.